You're listening to Sports Radio Detroit.
Sports Radio Detroit is proud to present the Whip and Neigh Neigh podcast on sportsradiodetroit.com SRD with your show host Pete Spivak, a broadcaster and horse racing handicapper, and Dana Garuder, a sports writer and horse racing handicapper. This episode welcomes guest host Aaron Hayes, who's a freelance horse racing writer and handicapper. And now here comes the Whip and Neigh Neigh podcast on sportsradiodetroit.com with Pete, Dana, and Aaron. Oh yeah, there's the new open, which I finally am 2 weeks late in making, but I made it. So there you are. Welcome in to the Whip and Neigh Neigh podcast here on sportsradiodetroit.com SRD. I am indeed one of the show hosts. I am Pete Spivak. I do sports and traffic updates in the Metro Detroit area for broadcasting. And with me is one of my usual co-hosts, and that would be sports writer Dana Garuder. Dana, welcome in, buddy.
How you doing, Pete?
Doing well, my friend, doing well. And with us is our guest who was with us last week, but he is back now. We will have no more communication problems this week, is the great Aaron Hayes, who's a horse racing handicapper and writer for the horse racing industry. Aaron, welcome in, my friend.
What up, Pete? How you doing today?
I'm doing well, my good friend, doing well. Aaron and I and Dana are probably some of the last stalwart members of the Hazel Park Raceway family who are left without a home. So as we just have to live vicariously through the internet and through the great TV Chi channel. So what we do here, the three of us do here on the Whip and Neigh Neigh podcast, is we break down the road to the Kentucky Derby. There is a 35 race prep schedule which runs between September and April, and all these American horses race to compete for gates at the Kentucky Derby on the first Saturday in May. There are 18 American horses, 1 European and 1 Japanese champ that gain gates on the first Saturday in May for the Kentucky Derby, and all prep races award points to the top 4 finishers, and the top 20 horses with the most points will earn that gate at the Kentucky Derby. So that's what we do. We break down that prep race schedule and try to figure out who is going to be the winner in the big race for America. That's the first Saturday of May, the Kentucky Derby. But last week we had the Sam F. Davis Stakes from the great Tampa Bay Downs, and we're going to head over to the great Dana Garuder with his breakdown from what happened in the Sam F. Davis. Dana.
Well, the Sam F. Davis turned out to be a handicapping primer, if you will. There were 3 speed horses in the race, but only one of them went to the lead. And when you let a quality horse go to the lead, a lot of times they go wire to wire. That was the case in that particular race. Well defined out of the barn of Kathleen O'Connell. Went straight to the front, established a clear lead, and nobody could catch up to the horse. The horse went off at 7-1. This horse had won a couple of restricted stakes down in Florida last year. Running with a front-running style. The previous race before the Sam Davis, he was well beaten at Gulfstream Park when a speed duel developed. So this horse obviously is one who likes to get to the front and doesn't get a lot of pressure. He gets brave on the lead. The second horse in that race was Kentucky Wildcat, who was my top choice. He ran a very solid second. He rallied, just couldn't catch well defined. Unfortunately, Kentucky Wildcat either got hurt during the race or just after the race. He suffered a condylar fracture and is now off the Triple Crown Trail. Finishing third was Aaron's top choice, which was So Alive rallied for third in that particular race out of the Todd Pletcher barn. So these, at least we'll see, I'm pretty sure we'll see well-defined in the Tampa Bay Derby. That's usually the next step for a horse that wins the Sam Davis. Other than that, there really wasn't much to, the only other thing I would like to mention is that Nick's Go, who was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, very disappointing, stalked the pace and just backed up for the second time in a row. So with that, I'm going to throw it back to Pete.
Well, I appreciate that, Dana. Aaron, real quick, do you have anything you want to add from the Sam F. Davis? Did you bet it? Did you see it? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was quite disappointed with Saw Live's break. Once they came out the gate, I just knew my money was dead. He broke last. When they hit the turn, he was maybe about 15 to 20 lengths behind. He closed very well though, but I was so disappointed in the break. I just threw my money on the ground. I just knew it was a wrap once the gates open.
Yeah, that's the bummer about that. And it is a shame. You heard Dana mention about Kentucky Wildcat. He did suffer a very serious injury. That is probably not going to see Kentucky Wildcat for quite a while. And if he does come back, he's probably going to race very sparingly. So that is definitely unfortunate. Kentucky Wildcat injured and off the Kentucky Derby trail. So, well, with that, we will just continue to move on because, unfortunately, even with injuries in horse racing, we still have to keep going and keep plugging away. So that's what the three of us are going to do because we have 3 races to break down in this show. So we are going to get to that. So before we do break down our first race, I would like to remind everyone to log on to sportsradiodetroit.com SRD and check out the latest episodes of Tigers SRD. Join Chris and Roger as spring training has started for the Tigers and the rest of Major League Baseball. The boys talk all the latest news around the baseball world. That's Tigers SRD with Chris and Roger only on sportsradiodetroit.com SRD. So with that, let's get back to the Whip and Neigh Neigh podcast. I mentioned that we have 3 races to break down in this show. We are going to start heading out to the Golden State. We're going to head out to Golden Gate Fields. I will give everybody out there listening one guess as to where the Golden Gate Fields track might be. So we're going to head out to the left coast and head out to Golden Gate Fields for Saturday's El Camino Real Derby. It's an ungraded stakes kicking off at 6:45. It is race 7 on your card from Golden Gate Field. Points awarded on the road to the Derby, 10 for the win, 4 for second, 2 for third, and 1 for fourth. A field of 13 horses. Post time set for around 6:45 Eastern Standard Time. But before we get over to Aaron for his breakdown, I want to let everybody know about the weather. Scattered showers with a high near 52 scheduled for Saturday, but that's not the news. It's been raining in California. California has been battered by heavy rains all winter, and it's been pouring rain over there for the last week and a half. In fact, Golden Gate canceled their Thursday card, and hopefully they will seal up their track for the weekend card. Track officials say that the drainage systems around the track have been flooded with rainwater. So let's see how this plays out for Saturday. So with that note on that one, Aaron, can your picks swim?
Oh, let's see here. I don't know, but on this all weather, I think I'm gonna go with all Eagle Song, the 7 horse, the 5-1 morning line. I like Eagle Song. He has 2 wins, but his only 2 wins have came on the all weather. However, they were overseas in Ireland on Dunkirk. He came over here January 11th, ran 6.5 furlongs at Santa Anita, ran not a bad 4th, 3 lengths behind. Followed up February 1st, ran second, going a mile on the grass. He gets back to the all weather here at Golden Gate. I think that he might fare well. Like I said, his only 2 wins have came on the all weather. He has Julian Cowton on him. I like Julian as a jockey out there, and I believe that he probably will be able to sit off the pace of the 4 horse, another Twisted Fate, who's definitely going to have the lead. He only has one way to go. So I like Eagle Song on top, overall top. Another Twisted Fate in the El Camino.
And for Dana, toss it over to Dana, my friend. Dana?
Yes, I'm with you here. I look at this race. Well, first of all, it's very tough to pick synthetic races when these big fields. You don't know how some of these horses are going to react to that particular surface. There was a 48-1 shot to won this race a couple of years ago, so this race can produce some wild finishes. I'm going to go with a 10-1 shot here. King of Speed, the number 2 horse out of the Jeff Bondi barn. This horse really liked the grass last year. He won a stakes race over at Del Mar, rallying last summer for at a pretty decent price there as well. And with synthetic tracks, mostly turf horses like the synthetic track more than horses who prefer dirt. So I'm looking for a good turf horse here. And King of Speed won the Zuma Beach Stakes out at Del Mar. Actually won it at Santa Anita. I correct myself. He won at Santa Anita. He also ran won a race at Del Mar, the Del Mar Juvenile Turf right before that. So he won two not graded stakes, but two stakes out at in California on the turf. So I'm going to go with King of Speed to pull off an upset here at 10-1. I also like Eagle Song because of his back synthetic form. He's 2 for 3 on the synthetic. And he shipped over here. Mark Glatt now is the trainer for him. He's had 2 prep races for this. First time he went off on that goofy 6.5 furlong Santa Anita turf where they have the dirt in the middle of the turn. And he finished 3rd. He had Mike Smith on him that day. And then he got blinkers added last time. Stretched out. The pace was very slow, but he managed to finish 2nd. So I think Eagle Song is going to rally here and get the 2nd spot. And then my 3rd choice is going to be a horse toward the outside, More Ice. Jerry Hollendorfer has won this race more than any other trainer, which isn't surprising because he was the king of Golden Gate for many years. Hollendorfer has a jockey called Cedillo, who's 23%. So obviously this is a hot jockey out there. More Ice is another turf horse. He ran in that same Zuma Beach Stakes and got beaten. But he won an optional claimer right after that, and then he entered a restricted stakes at Santa Anita, finished a credible 3rd. So again, I'm just looking at the turf horses here, and I'm looking for prices. So that'll be my top 3. The inside horse, the 2nd horse, King of Speed, then Eagle Song, and then More Ice for 3rd. And with that, I'll throw it over to Pete.
Well, I appreciate that there, gentlemen. Thanks very much for your breakdowns. I really think that this is a little bit more of a set race, not wide open, but a set race. I think it really does come down to 2 horses in this field to be the winner on Saturday. I think it comes down to the 4, Another Twist of Fate, and it comes down to the 7, Eagle Song, which both Aaron and Dana have mentioned. But nobody's mentioned the 4, Another Twist of Fate. Now, Juan Hernandez is going to be riding this horse for the 4th straight time, and it's a Blaine Wright-trained horse at 5-2 on the morning line. Another Twist of Fate is undefeated at Golden Gate in 2 starts. He's a front runner, and that does not have to worry about too much competition at the front, aside from Kingley, which is going to be a Bob Baffert horse. Now, Kingley's going to be the main competition out there because he's trained by Baffert. But it shouldn't be that much of an issue because one important thing about the 4 horse, Another Twist of Fate, he's the only horse in this field, if I read it correctly, that has 2-turn experience. That is extremely important, especially at a 1.125 miles, which is an extremely long way, and is an extremely long way for horses which usually are used to only 1 turn. But having the 4 already having raced a 2-turn race at Golden Gate Field and won that race, I think that Another Twist of Fate is in good shape to be the winner on Saturday. I also like the 7, Eagle Song, as both Aaron and Dana mentioned. I mean, coming over from Ireland, Eagle Song is a really nice horse. The synthetic surface over there at Golden Gate should prove helpful to Eagle Song, who, again, won on turf back in Ireland. He's made 2 good starts so far in the U.S., and he has mid-pack power to catch the early leaders, and I really think either a front-running horse or a stalking horse will win this race at the end. So I see the race starting out like this. I see the 4, 5, 9 on the lead, followed by the 3, 6, 7, 10, 11 doing the stalking. The 1, 2, 8, 12, and 13 will come from the back. So I like the 2, 4, 7 to be the top 3 horses in this race, with possibly the 9, Kingley, coming in at the back. Just one note about Kingley being the 2-1 morning favorite. He is a Bob Baffert horse. Bob Baffert only has 1 win in his entire career in the El Camino, and that came in the mid-90s. So don't overbet Kingley. You will see the 2-1 favorite Kingley probably go off at 3-1 and not the morning line favorite. So I'm guessing that the 4 will be the favorite when the bell goes off. So I like the 2, 4, 7 combination. I like Dana's pick of King of Speed. I think he'll be a sneaky underdog to get in there. And I like the 9, Kingley, to bring up the rear. And I also like More Ice as well. So 2, 4, 7, 9, 12. Play with those numbers. Gentlemen, any more comments on the El Camino? Aaron first?
Yeah, with the El Camino, I kind of like for a long shot, I like Major Cobb, the 13 horse. He has one of the top trainers out there, Jonathan Wong. He has quite a few victories on his hand for the season at 83. That's quite a few, and he's gonna be coming from off the pace. He's ridden at Golden Gate 5 times, won, second 2 times, second 3 times. So I like Major Cobb as a shot that might be able to hit the board at 20-1.
Gotcha. Dana, do you want to add anything more?
I'm just going to add that I think you can bet your house that the Derby winner is not in this field.
That's probably true. That's probably true. All right, gentlemen. So with that, then let's move on to our next race, considering that we do have 2 more to break down. So let's just go ahead. So there you go. That was our breakdown of the El Camino coming up this Saturday at 6:45 Eastern Time from the Golden Gate Field. So let's move on. But before we do break down our next race, I would like to remind everyone to log on to sportsradiodetroit.com SRD and check out the latest episodes of Armchair Sports Talk. Join Eric, Russ, and Justin as they discuss the moves made before the NBA trade deadline. I'm sure there were movies made before the NBA trade deadline, but there were moves made before the NBA trade deadline, and they do break down those trades and how they reshape the NBA as the playoffs approach. That's Armchair Sports Talk with Eric, Russ, and Justin, only on sportsradiodetroit.com SRD. So with that, gentlemen, let's move on to Saturday's Grade 2, 1 mile and a 16th for $100,000 Risen Star Stakes from the fabulous Fairgrounds Racecourse in Nolens, Louisiana. This will be race 12 on your card. Points awarded on the road to the Derby. This will be the first one that actually awards major points. 50 to the winner, 20 to second, 10 for third, and 5 for fourth. A field of 14 horses set for post time around 7:02 Eastern Time. Now, the weather is more normal for Arkansas. It's cloudy with scattered showers, a high near 71. It's a 14-horse field. The 13-horse Kingly is scratched because he's racing at the Golden Gate Fields, so the also eligible Gunnet is in place. So it's still a 14-horse field. With that, Aaron, it is all yours, my friend.
I'm going to have to go with the morning line favorite, War of Will. And I think it'll be a steal if he can be at 5-2. I think he's pretty much the best 3-year-old in the race. He won the LeCompte at the Fairgrounds with Tyler Gaffalion. And Tyler has rode him the last 2 times. And when he has ridden hhim, he's actually extended his lead from the stretch to the finish, which I really do like a lot. He had a very, very decent workout, 47-1 at Fairgrounds on the 9th. He has Mark Cassie training him. Obviously, he's doing quite well there with 14 wins out of 55 starts. Excuse me. And I think he's going to be very, very tough. He's going to be very tactical, despite his 14th. The 13th post. No, he'll be coming out the 14th post. 13th post.
The 13th post.
Yes, 13th post. Excuse me. I don't see that as a problem. I think he has very good tactical speed. Tyler will get him out the gate, and he should sit maybe 3rd or 4th right off the lead, as he did in the LeCompte Stakes. And I believe that he'll be able to sit on the pace and just pounce on them when they come down the stretch. I don't see any of these horses that really scare him. He's been in 4 graded stakes out of 6 starts. Obviously, he won the grade 3 in January on the 19th. But he has tons of class, tons of experience. I think he'll be an easy winner. But if you can get him at 5-2, which is the morning line, I think that's an easy steal. I like the 10-horse to possibly run second, Limonite. Ricardo isn't going to ride him. He's going to run on the 15, Gunnet. So Brian Hernandez gets aboard on this one. He'll be coming from way off the pace. Way off the pace. He closed on the sloppy track in the Kentucky Gold Cup. And he closed from well off the pace. He was at one point he was last with 10 lengths, but he ended up finishing 3rd by 2 lengths. And I think that he'll be able to close into the pace. And I think it'll be a very decent pace, but I think he'll be able to come from well off the pack. And I also like the 3-horse, Mr. Money. Now he ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile at Churchill Downs, and I watched the replay, and he was pretty much, to be honest with you, at 41-1. He was pretty much step for step with game winner all the way into the turn. But then once they got down the stretch, he somewhat flattened out and finished fourth. So that wasn't a very bad race for him, to be honest with you, in his fourth start. Gabriel Saez is back aboard. That's all he knows. He had a very good workout going 5 furlongs. He ran a bullet over the fairground surface. So he's getting quite familiar with that. Actually, he's had quite a few good workouts there. So I like in this race as an easy winner, War of Will. I think he's just much the best. Very, very classy horse. I like the 10 horse, Liamite, to run second. And I like Mr. Money, the 3 horse, to run third for the Risen Star.
Well, I have to agree with you. It pains me to pick a favorite in a 14-horse field, but the LeCompte Stakes, to me and Pete and Ryan, when we broke down that race, we thought it was a pretty wide open field. War of Will was 6-1 on the morning line, but he got bet like they knew this horse was going to be a giant on the dirt. He had not run on a fast track before. He had broken his maiden on a sloppy track, and previous to that had been running on the turf. But he got hammered down to 8-5, and he ran like a 2-5 shot in that race. He was 4 wide on the first turn, 4 wide on the second turn, and when the jockey pushed the button, he took off. Tyler Gaffaleone really didn't have to urge him all that much to get him to get the lead, and he won pretty easily in that race. So I don't see the outside post as being a problem here because he was wide in the last race, and in fact, this race is slightly longer, so I'll have a little bit longer run to the first turn to get position. So he's going to be my top choice. The only other horse who really kind of intrigues me is Plus K Parfait, the 1 horse. He had a bad trip there. He stumbled out of the gate in the same race. He was in the 11 hole, and he managed to work his way over to the rail at one point, but in the stretch he had some traffic issues as well, and still finished a creditable 5th. Prior to that, he had finished second in the Kentucky Jockey Club race out at Churchill Downs in November. And so I think this horse is going to get a little bit better trip, and he certainly should be able to save some ground here. So I've got War of Will winning this race, Plus K Parfait finishing second or third, and get the wheel out and hope you can hit a big triple with a long shot underneath Plus K Parfait. But I really see War of Will winning this race. And with that, I'll turn it over to Pete.
You and your wheels, dude. You love wheeling the third place horse. You love it. Aaron, just so you know, that's Dana's big claim to fame, wheeling the show horse. He loves to wheel it, and he always seems to find a way to, some 20-1 dog comes in there.
Very profitable, very profitable.
He's always good. Well, I think that point that Dana brought up about wheeling the show horse or the third pick, I think is absolutely correct, because you both are absolutely 100% right as well. I think the 14 War of will indeed be the winner on Saturday's Grade 2 1 mile and 16th Risen Star Stakes from the fabulous Fairgrounds Racecourse in Nolens, because I think that War of Will actually has a very good chance to win the Kentucky Derby as well. So I really think that War of Will is your definite winner out of the 14 hole on Saturday. But as you mentioned about wheeling, I really think that the horses that will follow underneath can really bring you some money, Dana. So I really agree with you on wheeling at least the third choice. But let me run down the horses I do like. I think that Aaron makes a very good point about the 3-horse Mr. Money. Mr. Money is a stalking horse that finished 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last time out. And one note he lost to Game Winner, Knicks Go, and Signalman. 3 pretty good horses, aside from Knicks Go, who I think is going backwards. But Game Winner is also a horse that could win the Kentucky Derby. I think it comes down to War of Will and Game Winner when it comes down to the first Saturday of May. But Mr. Money is very interesting. And I agree with you, Aaron, on Mr. Money's optimism, if you will. He finished 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile behind, those 3 very, very big horses, Game Winner, Knicks Go, and Signalman. But have you been looking at the workouts that Mr. Money's been putting in? Mr. Money has been working out like Rocky getting ready for Drago. He has been busting his hump. He is ready to make a statement. 100% correct, Aaron. You are 100% correct on the 3-horse Mr. Money. I think he's ready. I also like the 5-horse Henley's Joy. He's coming from the turf horse switching to dirt. They're trying to do a War of Will move with Henley's Joy, and I think it's going to be perfect. He should stalk the early pace and be there at the end. He has great speed ratings for this field. I really think that Henley's Joy is going to be there. Yeah, Tyler Gaffalione is off. You got Manny Franco. He's jumping on the back now of Henley's Joy. It's a Mike Maker horse at 10-1 in the morning line. I like that horse, and I like the 8 Owendale. A front runner with good speed. If he controls the early pace with little effort or little competition, he should finish solidly on the board. I really see the race starting out like this. 7 and the 8 will be on the lead. I was going to put the 13 with him, but Kingley is scratched and onto the Golden Gate Fields. So I see the 7 and the 8 guaranteed. They're on the lead. They're going to be followed by a couple horses. The 3, 4, 5, 11, 12, 14, and the also eligible Gunnet. They're going to all be stalking with the 6, 9, and 10 in the very far back. But I think that the 4 horses that you want to fool around with, at least in my opinion, are the 3, 5, 8, and 14. Play with those numbers, box them all up. I think you may be able to find a winner in that one, but definitely the 14 War of Will is your big winner. Aaron, would you like to mention anything more about the Risen Star Stakes before we move on?
What intrigues me is the 15 horse. They paid $2.6 million for this horse.
For Gunnet?
For Gunnet, yeah, that's a lot of money. And this is Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana. When they team up, they're kind of deadly. So he got off the 10 horse to ride this 15 horse. Now, obviously, he gets in because Kingley scratches. But I'm just interested just for the price tag alone. You pay $2.6 million for a horse. I want to see what you can do. So I'm just interested to see what he could possibly do. He did have a nice Briz speed rating of 91 in his last race, but coming out the 14 hole, I'm just a little intrigued what this 2.6 million can do.
Well, let me add one thing to your statement right there too. One other thing that's interesting about the also eligible. Usually also eligibles are about 20-1 and over. He's 10-1.
Yes.
So he's got some sort of, like you mentioned, he's got some sort of swagger to him. The reason that why they wanted to get him in this race. Dana, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, I think 2 horses that I don't think either of us, any of us mentioned was Hog Creek Hustle finished second in the Lecomte. So, Hog Creek Hustle has some closing kick. And Country House out of the William Mott barn was intriguing about this horse is that he finished second to Kentucky Wildcat in a maiden race out at Aqueduct and then shipped over to Gulfstream and easily won a maiden race. Didn't run particularly fast in that race, but I don't think they were going all out. So Country House could be kind of an interesting horse as well. But, yeah, I'm all in on War of Will.
Very good. It looks like we all agree on that one. So that's quite the reputation we have going. All 3 of our reputations are on War of Will. So go War of Will on Saturday. Well, there you go, gentlemen. That's 2 out of 3 down. So let's move on to our final race. But before we do that and break down our final prep race coming up over the weekend, I would like to remind everyone to make sportsradiodetroit.com SRD one of your favorites in your search bar or on your computer, because starting next month will be the Detroit Favorite Female Personality Bracket Challenge. It's just like March Madness. You line up 1 against 64, and we see who wins at the end. Folks from all around the world can vote for their favorite female personality in the Metro Detroit area. And don't forget to save sportsradiodetroit.com to your search bars and computers so you can be ready for next month's Detroit Favorite Female Personality Bracket Challenge. So with that, the 3 of us are going to move on to a race coming up on Monday, President's Day. Yes, there will be a race on President's Day. It's the Grade 3 1 mile and a 16th $500,000 Southwest Stakes from the outstanding Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and that is the future retirement village of the great Dana Garuder because he loves Oaklawn so much. Now, we don't know what race it is yet because with the PPs are not out as of right now. We were only able to go off the nominations card, but we do know that it is the last race in the prep race schedule, which awards the least amount of points. It awards 10 for the win, 4 for second, 2 for show, and 1 for fourth. We don't know how many horses. We assume a field of anywhere between 7 and 10 horses. No word yet on when post time would be, but if it's President's Day, I'm guessing post time is going to be around anywhere between 3 and 4 o'clock. The weather is scheduled to be cloudy with a high near 47. We do know of at least 7 horses which will be entered in the field. So with that, Aaron, we have Gray Attempt, the 1 horse. The 2 is Sueno. The 3 is Long Range Toddy. The 4 is Boulder. The 5 is Super Steed. The 6 is Olympic Runner. And the 7 is 6 Shooter, as far as we can tell. With that, do you have any opinion on Monday, President's Day, Southwest Stakes?
Well, quite a few of those horses came out to Smarty Jones. And Gray Attempt, he pretty much went wire to wire. End up winning by a neck, but they were bearing down on him. Long Range Toddy was coming late, and Boulder. I expect pretty much the same situation. I can't wait till the PPs come out, but I most definitely know that Sean Bridgman will definitely have Gray Attempt on the lead, and pretty much I think Long Range Toddy might just will be right off his flank, and we'll see what they come down the stretch. We're going a little bit further than that mile. Remember, at Oaklawn, they have that short stretch as well. So, and he only won by a neck. So when they stretch out to a decent little stretch down there at Oaklawn, we can see if he's Gray Attempt can hold on. But I think it's probably between Long Range Toddy and Gray Attempt. Who do you think might come on top, Dana?
Well, I tell you what, I'm thinking it's pretty much the same way. You know, when we handicapped Smarty Jones, we said a Gray Attempt could get out to an easy lead. He's probably going to win the race. He won, but he didn't win by a whole lot. He had to really work for it. And there's another horse, Olympic Runner, coming into this race out of the Marcassi barn, who also trains War of Will. Olympic Runner went wire to wire in a Gulfstream maiden race in his last start. And so if Olympic Runner's jockey goes out and puts some more pressure on Gray Attempt, that could set it up a little bit for some of the other horses. And I think Long Range Toddy's been kind of knocking on the door. He was at a disadvantage with Gray Attempt getting an easy lead last time out. I think Long Range Toddy is going to break through on Monday and win that race for Steve Asmussen, who's kind of the king of Oaklawn. He's usually the top trainer there. So I'll go with Long Range Toddy with Gray Attempt second, and another Steve Asmussen horse, Boulder, running third. Of course, there could be some other horses entered in this race. We're not quite sure right now, but that's what I'm looking at. With that, I'll go to Pete.
Well, I appreciate that, boys. Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing about Gray Attempt. He's an undefeated front runner in 4 races. So that has to say something. He's got high speed figure ratings. He's all class. I think that he might actually be an easy winner on Monday's race, the Southwest Stakes from Oaklawn Park. Dana mentioned the horse that I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Boulder. Boulder really is a solid stalking horse with good speed. I wonder, though, if he might be a tad overmatched for the top 2 spots in this race. I don't know if he can possibly beat either Gray Attempt or Long Range Toddy, but I do like Boulder. I think to hit the board, like you said, Dana, depending on how many horses we're going to have in this field. Now, Olympic Runner is a really interesting horse coming off a wonderful, wonderful maiden win, and coincidentally at a 1.16 mile distance in the slop from Gulfstream last time out. Definitely, he is a huge question mark for this field because we don't know what Olympic Runner is really going to do. I mean, he's coming off of that race that he did last time out. I'm trying to bring up the sheet here for Olympic Runner. Here it is. Yeah, he posted a 105 Beyer speed rating from Gulfstream in the slop, leading from start to finish, and not even close. Nobody was even close to this kid. And he went the distance at a 1.16 miles. So I think that the 6 Olympic Runner is a huge question mark for this race. So I like if it is a 7-horse field, I will take Gray Attempt, Olympic Runner, and Long Range Toddy and Boulder. Those are my 4 horses. Again, that's Gray Attempt, Olympic Runner, Boulder, and Long Range Toddy. I'm going to play with those 4 horses for Monday's Southwest Stakes. Aaron, anything else you would like to add?
Not too much. I just can't wait till the PPs come out.
I hear you on that. Dana, anything you want to add?
Well, I want to say Oaklawn tends to favor horses on or near the lead. So definitely Gray Attempt, Long Range Toddy, Olympic Runner. I mean, those are pretty solid choices because they can all either be on or near the lead.
Well, it's your favorite track. You should know better. I mean,
Yep.
You're going to be retiring there. I know that. There is no Florida or Arizona for you, Dana. There's only Arkansas.
Dana, I think I'm right there with you. That's my favorite track as well.
Oh my God, you guys are gonna blow all your Social Security money within like the first 2 months.
Yes, of course.
It's the Labrador DRC of the South.
That's one of the best comments we've ever had on this show, Aaron. That's wonderful. That's a good one. All right, gentlemen. Well, I really appreciate everybody's efforts today. But after this show, we sort of have a little bit of a break to sort of take a breath, gather it in. The next show we have coming up is going to be the first weekend of March. So our show will be out on March 1st. It is the Fountain of Youth Stakes from Gulfstream Park. That's what we have coming up next. And then following that on March 9th, oh, my God, boys, we have 3 races to break down: the Gotham, the San Felipe, and the Tampa Bay Derby. But if there is some good news with that, we have entered the 50-point and 100-point realm. We are in the meat of the schedule here, gentlemen.
Yep. The Risen Star starts it all off at the 50-pointer one. So yeah, this is the fun time when you win one of these races, you're pretty much guaranteed a Derby start.
Yeah, the horses get serious now. Absolutely serious. Anybody, Aaron, have you done any future bets yet for the Derby?
No future bets. I'm not big on that because I can't even pick a winner on Derby Day, so I don't see how I can see him money that much in the future. But not future bets, not me.
Gotcha. Very good. All right, gentlemen. Well, I appreciate everything you guys have done, and I appreciate all of our listeners listening into our show today. That is awesome. So we broke down all 3 races: the El Camino, the Risen Star Stakes, and Monday's Southwest Stakes. So don't forget to tune into other shows and podcasts here on Sports Radio, Detroit.com, SRD, including the Out of Bounds podcast, Parsons and Slow, Fanarchy, The Set Piece, Mitten Sports Talk, Spinning the Wheels, Grave Discussions, The Laugh Track, and SRD Ringside, along with Wings, Pistons, Lions, and Tigers SRD. And also don't forget to check back for more of the Whip and Neigh Neigh podcast as the Triple Crown season progresses. So thanks very much for listening. A reminder, I am one of the show hosts. I am Pete Spivak. You can find me on Twitter at Son of USFL Dad. Aaron, where can people find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at ahayes24.
And Dana, how about you?
I'm on D. Garuder.
I appreciate your efforts, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of our listeners. And don't forget what Stan Laurel says: you can lead a horse to water, but a pencil must be led. Good luck, hail, and farewell.
This has been an SR